Hey people, it is Thursday, April the 7th, and the time is 11:48 in the morning, and the temperature is currently 9 degrees Celsius. And I'm standing here on Avenue Road, just a little bit north of Eglinton Avenue West. And I'll be taking a walk through the Yonge and Eglinton neighborhood a bit later, but first, I thought I'd take a look at a notable landmark in the history of Toronto's comedy scene. I'm sure many of you are aware of or have been fans of SCTV, the Second City Television, which was a TV show spun off from the Second City Theatre Company, which has a location here in Toronto. And at one time, several of the famous SCTV alums all lived together here at this house at 1063 Avenue Road. So John Candy, Eugene Levy, and perhaps Andrea Martin, Joe Flaherty. I'm not exactly sure which ones in total all lived here together, but I know John Candy definitely lived here with a few of his fellow SCTV pals, and this is where they came up with many sketches and well-known characters that you saw on the SCTV show. So a lot of sort of very memorable and historic things happen inside this house, at least in terms of the Canadian comedy scene, or even the world comedy scene, really, because a lot of the actors from SCTV went on to star in many successful movies throughout the 1980s. And comedy was really hugely affected by the cast of SCTV. And still to this day, there are repercussions of that. Many of the actors are still performing and starring in successful shows and movies. Schitt's Creek is a good example. So now I'm going to make my way towards Yonge and Eglinton. The neighborhood Yonge and Eglinton, not so much the intersection. And you can see up ahead the cluster of tall residential towers. And there's another SCTV landmark over amongst those tall buildings. So we'll take a look at that as well. And this is quite an impressive skyline. This is considered Toronto's midtown skyline. And the residential neighborhoods just surrounding it are rather tony and definitely very pricey. These houses are running in the millions. At one time, that Ryokan office tower was the tallest building in the Yonge and Eglinton cluster, and as you can see now, there are a couple of taller buildings with more on the way. There are at least 3 taller buildings now, actually. And you can see the downtown skyline sort of hiding behind the trees off in the distance. get another look at that, I think, as we make our way down. We're going to cut through a neighborhood park and a giant staircase. This is actually my first time ever exploring this part of the city. I mean, I have explored the main Yonge and Eglinton neighborhood before, of course, but not these residential neighborhoods surrounding it, and not this staircase or this park.
Finally galvanized.
He's listening to a podcast, I think. Ugh, the ground is all wet and mucky around here. We had rain all night.
That's allowed.
Let's see if I can get around here without having to walk through too much mud. And there's a neighborhood arena. And we got some dogs kind of checking each other out. I think I have to go around this way. And the mud is pretty much unavoidable here. We still need a couple more weeks of spring showers to get this grass in proper condition. I guess this isn't an official dog park, but it's obvious the local residents use it as one. And I'm back on dry land. Yeah, looks like lots of snow scraped off of the ice rink. So not actual snow. This is called Orchard View Boulevard. And way down in the distance, you can catch a glimpse of some of the downtown skyscrapers. I think we'll get a better look at the next intersection. And the sun is trying to stay out. It keeps hiding behind clouds every now and again. But I think the forecast for today has the temperature going up to around 14 or 15 degrees Celsius. So here's where the low-rise single-family home nature of the neighborhood suddenly and abruptly changes to a high-rise node. This is Duplex Avenue. And there you can see part of the skyline again, the downtown skyline. And you can see the very top of the CN Tower jutting up from behind that apartment building. So we're quite far from downtown. But this neighborhood is almost like a downtown in its own right. I'm sure you could drop somebody here who's not familiar with Toronto, somebody from another city, and they would think that they were in the middle of downtown. And here's Yonge Street. And across Yonge. And there, now you can see the CN Tower. So now we're on Roehampton.
One is
There's a guy washing windows or balconies. He's washing something. And as you can see, new buildings are just springing up all over this neighborhood. These old low-rise apartment buildings are becoming quite a rarity around here. And here's the other SCTV landmark. Anyone who watched the old TV show might remember the opening credits. Whereas the theme song played, you saw dozens of old TV sets being thrown from the balconies of this apartment building. And I believe it was John Candy and Eugene Levy who were at the top, throwing some TV sets off, and they had a number of other people throwing sets off of other balconies, and they all kind of flew and landed down here. So this is it. This is the famous SCTV TV set apartment building. (100 Roehampton Avenue). I can hear the SCTV theme song playing in my head. So this neighborhood is now a mix of those older 1960s and 70s era slab apartment buildings, such as the SCTV one, and this new crop of more modern towers, all thrown together. 10 or 15 years ago, This neighborhood was nothing but those older slab apartment buildings and the office towers at Yonge and Eglinton. Some more examples of the 60s slabs. Some people refer to these as commie blocks also, because they are reminiscent of Soviet era apartment towers. Here's some very interesting neighborhood artwork here. I think these are quite controversial when they were first erected, and it might be understandable why. And proposal for a couple more towers here. It's kind of a shame that some of these old neighborhood businesses will likely be lost. Most of the new towers do have retail on the ground level, but the retail that replaces the older retail is never quite the same. It tends to be large chain stores. And here's Eglinton Avenue. So we'll make our way back to the main intersection at Yonge and Eglinton. And there's another window washer on that building.
So much enjoyment.
And of course, the new crosstown rapid transit line is being constructed underneath Eglinton Avenue, right through this area. And as a result, it's been a bit of a construction nightmare for the last 7 or 8 years. And supposedly completion is possibly by the end of this year, although I'm somewhat doubtful they'll have everything up and running by then, but we'll see. And the sun is hiding behind clouds again.
Toronto. If I get them out.
And you can see what they've been dealing with here for far too long.
Even like, don't lie.
No, I know, but before.
And no doubt some of these businesses are fed up with all of this. That guy saw me filming and decided he didn't want to be in my video and let me pass. Here's a burrito restaurant, Zteca. I don't think there's a Burrito Boys in this neighborhood though. And here we are, right at Yonge and Eglinton. So I'm going to wrap things up here. Right at the heart of Midtown, as we look at a gigantic hole there across Yonge Street. So I hope you enjoyed this walk around Yonge and Eglinton with a SCTV slant, looking at a couple of notable locations that are well known to fans of SCTV. The old house where several of the cast members lived together on Avenue Road, 1063 Avenue Road. And then we made our way into the heart of the neighborhood to Roehampton Avenue to look at the apartment buildings that was featured in the opening credits of the SCTV theme show, where they threw the TV sets off of the balconies. So if you enjoyed the walk, by all means, like and share and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal and via my merch store. And you can also find me on Instagram under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and be sure to keep checking back, because as always, I will continue.